Hi, today's Monday, August 10th, 2026. This article is from Reuters and it appeared on yahoo.com. The title is As Europe Migration Debate Rages, Bologna Businessman's Death Highlights Human Cost by Claudia Cristoferi, Tuesday, August 4th, 2026. 5-minute read. People march behind a banner calling for justice for Moroccan businessman Abderrahim Fakir during a demonstration in Bologna, Italy, July 26, 2026. By Claudia Cristoferi. Bologna, Italy, August 4th. Reuters. When tens of thousands of would-be migrants crossed from Morocco into the Spanish enclave of Ceuta last week, Italy's right-wing Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni promptly said she would suspend a free movement accord with Spain, even though Ceuta is excluded from the pact. So we go to the map, right? Enclave, it's enclave, right? It's enclave, so it's not in the Spanish territory, but surrounded by Morocco, I guess. Ceuta, right? See, the Spain is over here, right? But Ceuta is enclave. So people crossed this border, I think, or they swam from here to Principe, or something like that. And when a distressed Moroccan businessman who feared repatriation despite having lived in Italy for 36 years died after being stabbed by police 2 weeks ago in Bologna, with a viral footage showing 2 officers sitting on him to restrain him, the government jumped to the law enforcers' defense. That's good expression, this one. The government jumped to the law enforcers' defense. The government jumped to the law enforcers' defense. The government jumped to the law enforcers' defense. Yeah, I try to remember on the spot so that I don't have to remember it anymore. Right-wing media depicted the man as another disorderly migrant causing trouble, highlighting drug convictions in his youth, while opposition politicians accused the government of racism and condoning police brutality. What few did in public, at least, was ask who Abderrahim Fakir really was and what might have caused his distress, something that sociologists and refugee agencies say reduces an immigration debate sweeping Europe to a caricature that prevents a more constructive response. Politics and dehumanization. What does it mean? What few did in public, at least, was ask who Abderrahim Fakir really was and what might have caused his distress, something that sociologists and refugee agencies say reduces an immigration debate sweeping Europe to a caricature that prevents a more constructive response. So I guess the businessman has some sneaky, strange behaviors, at least. Politics and dehumanization. The political agenda of many politicians requires the dehumanization of migrants, said Maurizio Ambrosini, who teaches the sociology of migration at Milan's Statale University. If we don't see them as people in flesh and blood, but as an abstract phenomenon, it becomes easier to tackle the issue without too much fuss or human considerations. In the months before his death on July 19th, Fakir, the 42-year-old owner of a small metalworking firm, appeared to those around him much as he always had, warm, sociable, and quick to smile. Yet underneath, he was trying to hold together a carefully built life that seemed to be slipping inexorably out of control. Video shot by neighbors that day showed two police officers pinning him to the ground face down, helped by a resident, and remaining on him for several minutes as he cried for help. They had responded to reports of a man roaming around, yelling incoherently, kicking garage doors, and banging on a car with its driver inside. The next day, after the videos showing Khafir's last moments had circulated online, Bologna's center-left Mayor Matteo Lepore called a rally to demand accountability and in support of his family. It drew thousands of peaceful citizens, but turned violent when a small group marched towards police headquarters, hurling objects and injuring dozens of officers. Hurling objects, right? Hurling objects. Hurling objects. Government supporters demanded the mayor resign. The opposition blamed Bologna's tough law and order policies, and Khafir himself faded quickly from the picture. Awaiting results of investigation and autopsy, but whatever the results of a pending autopsy and investigations into the officers who subdued him and 4 Red Cross volunteers who looked on before trying to revive him, Khafir was nothing like any politician's caricature of an immigrant. Interviews with his relatives, lawyer, and friends reveal a man trying to keep up appearances while struggling with problems in the business he had built, and the extra stress of fearing expulsion to Morocco, having lived in Italy almost all his life. Right? Keep up appearances. I don't know, maybe I encountered this expression only once. Keep up appearances. Keep up appearances. His older sister, Khadija, said he had recently withdrawn and often skipped family gatherings, but no one suspected how anxious he was inside. He wanted to protect us. He would call to ask how I was and how the children were doing, and say everything was fine, she told Reuters. Barbara Spinelli, Fakir's lawyer, had been helping him try to regain an Italian residence permit he had relinquished due to an extended stay in Morocco after his mother died in 2021. We were very close to resolving his situation, But in June, the judge assigned to his case was suddenly transferred. Spinelli said he panicked, even though I assured him it would soon be resolved. At around the same time, immigration authorities summoned Fakir, requesting verification of his status, despite a court order allowing him provisionally to remain in Italy. He was terrified of being sent back to Morocco, Spinelli said. Provisionally, right? Allowing him provisionally to remain in Italy. He was transferred. On June 12th, police found Fakir wandering, confused, in Castello di Argili outside Bologna. The incident ended without complications. Mayor Alessandro Enriquez told state-owned broadcaster RAI. A few days later, he showed up at Bologna Hospital with a self-inflicted injury and asked for psychiatric help, family lawyer Fabio Anselmo said. Records of the incident described him as depressed but calm, a poor signal of the internal turmoil that would shortly burst into the open. Wow, that's terrible, man. Fakir was under stress, and the anger burst into the open, and he banged the cars while drivers inside. He kicked the cans. He kicked the waste bins. He was shouting, I guess. Fakir had come to Italy from Morocco at the age of 6 and had lived in Bologna since 1995. Friends described him as outgoing and rooted in the local community. He was lively, always present in class, and was a great football player, said Ricardo, a former schoolmate who declined to give his surname. After 2 convictions for drug offenses committed as a teenager, Fakir had a series of jobs before setting up his own firms, first in logistics and most recently his metalworking business, which was facing difficulties. Having to lay off 8 of his 12 employees had distressed him, his lawyer Spinelli said, yet Fakir had his anguish from his family. Fakir hid his anguish from his family. He was always joking, recalled his 23-year-old niece, Yosra. His niece and nephews were like his own children. Unlike Yosra, Fakir's sister Khadija had been unable to watch the videos of her brother's final moments. My family trusts the Italian justice system and the police, she said. We expect the truth to emerge. Writing by Claudia Cristoferi, editing by Gavin Jones and Kevin Leafy. Wow, I didn't expect the Italian policemen would be that much brutal. They sat on him for extensive period, choking him to death, suffocating, right? But for Red Cross volunteers, they just looked on before they tried to revive him by resuscitation, I guess, and the heart pulsation. That's bad. And the khafir, I don't know about you, but why you got depressed and your behavior changed suddenly, that's bad. It called for disaster. Right? He was a good guy. He emigrated to Italy at the age of 6, so I'm sure he spoke fluent Italian, and he was almost Italian, right? because he was submerged in the Italian culture. He played football very well, and he was not late for classrooms, and he was, I don't know, khafir. I hope you rest in peace in the heaven. I'm sure people will be reborn according to the Buddhism. So karma will hit you, and it will help you out of the shithole in the next life. I hope you have a better chance of living your life fully, right? And to police officers, they need to be accountable for his death, right? When you set on people's lung on the back, crushing the lung and suffocating, that's crime. They needed to show some humanity, right? I don't want to live in Italy, but I have several good Italian friends. Wilhelm from Rye, right? He's a superb guy, and other Rye people, they were very good people, right? They drink a lot of illy coffee. Italians are great, but Italian police, I don't know, they should be more behaved. Thanks for listening. Have a great day. But from this article, I learned several expressions like keep up appearances, presumably, allow him provisionally, right, to stay in Italy, provisionally keep up appearances. Allowing him provisionally to remain in Italy, keep up appearances, hurling objects. The government jumped to the law enforcer's defense. The government jumped to the law enforcer's defense. The government jumped to the law enforcer's defense. Well, have a great day. Bye-bye.